4 out of 5 real estate agents will be gone in 2 years. That's not just a random stat, it's from NAR's own research. The average agent doesn't even renew their license after the first renewal period. So let's talk today about what the 20% do that the 80% don't. We know that in real estate, over the course of the first 2 years that people are licensed, actually more than 80% of agents actually exit out of the business.
Yes.
Incredible stat.
That is an unbelievable stat, isn't it, for sure? And Kelly, why do you think that is?
I think mostly because agents just don't have a plan. They get into business, a lot of realtors, is a common question that I ask agents, is, hey, what did you do before real estate? Right? And a lot of people worked for somebody else where they were told what they needed to do every single day. They came in, they had a list of things to do, whether you're working in a trades or working in the office. You always knew what it is that you had to do in front of you, yep. Right? Most people, when they're in that type of environment, don't have that entrepreneurial spirit that they need in order to be able to self-start and really figure out what the plan is going to be. Not just that, it's not just about running a business, but it's also having a sales background as well.
For sure, and it's interesting enough. In an earlier video, we chatted with one of our agents, and he talked about the chaos of real estate, that there is no structure at all to our job when we get up in the morning, and the only person that can put structure in there is you, the individual agent, for your day.
Yeah, and so if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a brokerage, if you don't have a mentor, a coach, a trainer, somebody to help guide you along this process in the very first step, you know, what 20% of agents do that 80% don't is that they actually have a clear business plan set in front of them. On top of that, they actually execute on that business plan consistently.
Key word is execute your business plan.
Yeah.
We do a lot of business planning, and I know there's probably a lot of agents that business plan sits on their desk and they don't even open it again after we have that business planning session. So for sure, planning, number one. Number two.
Yeah, number two is lack of consistent lead generation. So, you know, conversations that we seem to be having quite often with our agents is, you know, where are you guys getting your leads from? Some of them are, you know, they're crushing online leads right now. They're utilizing social media as a major lead source. Some of them are doing paid Google ads, but not many. I would say the vast majority of our agents today are really focused and concentrated on building their database.
Well, we hype that office so much, right?
Yeah.
And that is the number one mantra is I tell, especially, anybody, but new agents coming in, the first thing I talk to them, especially if they're saying, I'm thinking about getting into real estate, what should I be doing? Because we all know the course teaches you absolutely nothing to do about real estate and things like that.
Right.
But it's putting together that name list, all the people you know, the people that you already have a relationship with that you could pick up the phone or have a coffee with or know you, and get that database started.
Right.
And that should be everyone's number one focus in the business. And unfortunately, I don't believe it is. I think it's their last focus. They come in and they'll start doing open houses, or they're, you know, running around, you know, like a squirrel at a rave, let's say, on looking, you know, they might be trying to follow some stuff online with a million different ways to do business. But number one, it needs to be your sphere of influence started and working that.
Yeah, if you don't have leads, you don't have a business. I mean, at the end of the day, right? If you don't have leads, you have nothing to convert. If you have nothing to convert, you don't have a business. There's no revenue coming in.
Yeah. So sphere of influence, number one. There's a million different ways to generate leads, right?
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. You can do open houses, you can do social media, you can do TikTok. There's different ways to do it. And I find one of the things, and I struggle with this in the beginning, is I call it, it's a shotgun approach. You try a little bit of everything. And what I really try to coach agents to do now, or talk to agents to do now, is find out what they like doing. If you hate doing open houses, like I hate doing open houses, don't do them.
Right.
Because you're not going to pick up the leads, right?
Yeah.
People are going to know that you're, you know, you're half asleep when they opened up the front door or whatever it is.
Right.
Find the things you like. If it's being involved in, you know, baseball teams or coaching or whatever, get into somewhere you've got some passion that's going to be around people, that people will know you're interested. We've got one of our agents now, fairly new. He goes down to Gyro Beach to the volleyball stuff on a regular basis. Well, they had a function, so we took a Remax tent down. Well, then all of a sudden he was asked to bring the tents down for another function. And now he's starting to get business from this stuff. So you've just got to find it. But you don't want to do 17 different ones like we talked about in the past. You want to pick. I tell people to pick 3.
Right.
Master them. Become really good at them. Because if you can't do them well, you're not going to keep your lead source going.
Yeah, I usually coach around 4, and I use a table analogy, right? If you've got 4 legs of a table is nice and strong, it's sturdy, nothing's falling off the table. Yeah, if you go to 3, then the table's it's still a little bit sturdy, but it's teetering. Things have the ability to kind of fall off. Coming back to the sphere of influence, if agents were really focused on, like if you look at the entire year, we've got 12 months in a year. If you look at the entire year and realize, like, realistically, we've got 11 really solid working months, right? Because, December, a lot of people or even during August, July, people are on vacation, on holidays and that sort of thing. So we've got a real solid 11 working months. If you're really focused on adding one person to your database every single day, we're talking about 48 weeks, 48 working weeks throughout the year. Man, you could have a really solid business just based off of that alone. So think about how you can start to add people to your database, how you can add those leads into your database, and then what's the system that I need to be able to follow up with those people, stay in front of them as much as I possibly can. You told a story earlier about a former client of a RE/MAX agent that was raving and ranting about this agent, how great of a job they did, but couldn't remember the agent's name. Right, that's part of the consistency.
That's the follow-up.
It is 100%.
You've got to keep doing that, and that really was for me a turning point for me in my career, because I, like everybody, started doing the door knocking, the cold calling, the for sale by owners, and that's how I started my career. Mainly was on for sale by owners, which worked really well back in the day. It's probably a little bit harder to do now, because back then we had a newspaper and all the ads were in the newspaper. You had to find them.
Yeah.
But every time I went somewhere to a course, they would be talking about the newest way to do something, and I would change my business. Right. And then probably about year 8, I really started to get into figuring out my database, which was unfortunately 8 years too late.
Yeah.
But the growth in my business when I started that was basically double, and almost double again in about a 4-year period.
Wow.
And that was strictly from the database. And the interesting thing about a database is you don't need 4,000 people in your database to do 40 deals.
Right.
You need 250 good people. Right. That will use you themselves, but also refer you. And that's really what it does. So it's not like we're asking you to nurture and have relationships with 3,000 people. 250.
Yeah.
And you've got a hell of a database, right?
Right. And the number 3 thing that the top 20% do that the bottom 80% don't, in my opinion, is really solid follow-up.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember one year I was working in my office. I used to have back before we had great ways to keep all your documents with you online, I used to travel with a box.
Okay.
And all of it done. And at the end of kind of a ski season, I had an office of a big white. I was going through the box. And I probably threw away $100,000 worth of leads out of that box that I didn't do the proper follow-up early in my career. And that really is something that needs to be worked on, right? Mm-hmm. And when I tackled that down, and I see it now with the people that do well in this business, that's their strength, is the systems in place.
Yeah.
And the nice thing, once you get that system in place, they run automatically.
Yeah. The simplest form of follow-up that I can instruct on was taught to me by a business coach that I had years ago. He had me take a piece of paper, draw a line down the center, a line across the top. On the left-hand column, he said, write prospective clients. On the right-hand column, write current clients. And he said, you have 3 responsibilities to that sheet of paper. He said, first thing, tape it to your desk in front of your laptop. Like wherever you work, that's where it needs to be. Why? Because you want to see it every single day, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is you have 3 responsibilities to that piece of paper. First responsibility is the left-hand column. That's your pipeline. Your responsibility is to fill that pipeline every single day. Yeah. Second responsibility is to take that person on the left-hand column, move them over to the right-hand column. So now they're a prospective client, they're a lead, now they're a current client, somebody that you're actively working with. And then the third thing that he said was the third responsibility is you cross that person's name out and you write your favorite 4-letter word right next to it, which is SOLD. It's not the other one, right? I know you're he's got a potty mouth, but so you're writing sold next to their name, right? So it's probably the easiest form with your current lead, current database, your current lead flow that you're working with, current pipeline that you're working with. That's where it starts. That's one small little system that you can deploy. You take that then and put it into technology. You put that into your CRM, and now for a long term, now you've built out workflows so you can stay in contact with those clients over a 5, a 7, a 10-year period.
And I take it a little bit one step further with that name.
Sure.
I put down my commission value.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So that I know in my sales funnel, if I've got 10 clients in there hey, I've got $100,000 in future business here.
Yeah.
A little more motivating for me. It was anyways that holy cow, if I move these guys along, I got $100,000 here. And one of the things I always found challenging in the business was always starting off the year going, oh man, I'm at zero again, right?
Yeah.
You have to climb that hill. But when I started getting my sales funnel full and with dollar values behind it, I knew that I didn't need to go out and at January 1st, I go, geez, I'm already working with $100,000 worth of potential clients.
Right.
I know my database is going to generate this much business this year. Combined, oh great, I only really need to go out now and find another $50,000 or whatever because I know my system's in place and what I've already got going has already got most of my year tackled. I just need to go find. And I found it way less daunting. So that was really a breakthrough for me on what my database and that funnel and knowing what the value of it was for me.
Yeah. So the top of the top agents in our business consistently are working to sharpen the tools in the tool shed.
You know what, Kelly, we talk about this a lot, and it's one of the things, I think you asked me in one video we did, if I had $25,000 and I was starting my business today, what I would spend my money on.
Right.
Some of it would be into marketing, no doubt about it, and setting up my sphere, but some of it would be on personal growth and development in the business.
Yes.
And we spend a lot of time and effort bringing training into the office and stuff like that. And it still does amaze me how few people take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And it's not the paid stuff that we bring in. It's even the sales meetings. We get 60% of our, probably 50% of our agents come to our Tuesday morning sales meeting, and the rest will go, I read the newsletter.
Right.
But the interesting thing is the people that are in the room, they're our top agents.
Yeah.
Right. The interesting thing, the people that have offices in the building that are here every day, they're our top agents.
Yeah.
Right. And the people that go on tour, they're our top agents. Right.
Yeah.
And what surprises me is the people that aren't busy, they're not coming to these things. Right. That's, again, I think what really breaks down the barrier of, and there's, as I say, there's no rhyme or reason why anybody is successful in this business other than the fact that they come in, the successful ones come in and do the job,
right,
and do the work.
Yeah, 100%. And so you talk about training, you talk about some of the coaching and stuff that we do around the office. The agents that I've had the pleasure of working with on the other end of a deal or being able to coach them at the highest levels. I mean, every single agent that I've ever talked to that has been successful has had a business coach at some point in their career, right? And they've gone to conferences, and they'll do 3 or 4 conferences throughout the entire year. Now, you can go to any conference that you want. You can take any training that you want on YouTube. I mean, it's the encyclopedia is right there now, right? You've got all these people saying a bunch of stuff that really have never done any business, so they're just kind of taking whatever other people have said and kind of regurgitating it. Ultimately, if you are committed to bettering yourself, you're going to conferences that are outside of real estate as well as inside of real estate, and then you're taking the lessons that you learn from those conferences and actually executing on what you've learned, man, you are going to be so much further ahead from year 1 to year 5 and year 5 to year 10 and year 10 to year 20.
Yeah, and what a lot of people talk about with, I've been in the business a long time, I don't need the training, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And as I tell people, you're not going to training to rebuild your whole business. All you're going to training for is to pick up one nugget.
That's right.
Oh man, I used to do that and it worked.
Right.
Why did I stop doing that? Or, oh, geez, I really like the way they handle that objection or something like that. You're just looking for those incremental changes. You're not going into, a Brian Buffini 100 Days to Greatness to totally revamp and rebuild your business. But what you're hopefully going to do is take the golden nuggets out of it that are going to enhance what you're already doing.
100%.
And that's where I think that a lot of agents don't spend enough time. I mean, you look at our REMAX conference that they put on every year. It's called Activate.
Yeah.
That conference has a ton of great speakers. It's got a ton of real estate panels that agents are up talking on it. Lots of education. And it's interesting. the same people go every year.
Right.
And you know what's interesting? They're all top producers.
Yeah, 100%.
So
yeah. So again, those top 10, top 20%, they've got somebody that they're accountable to. And you can call that a partner, you call it a wife, you call it a husband, you call it a business coach, you call it your kids. It doesn't matter. There is somebody, something that is holding that agent accountable to the daily activities that they have to do in order to be successful. I caught something that you said during a conversation that we had here, and you were speaking to somebody else, and you said, every single time I wanted to be successful in my career, I had to put my bleep out on the line, right? Meaning you went out and purchased a big house, or you bought a big truck, or you spent some money, and now you knew that you had to go out and pay for that thing.
Yeah, motivation is great. And it was interesting because the conversation we were having was with another agent. And, and it was him that started the conversation. He said, yeah, I went out and got a big mortgage. He said, I was making mortgage payments that didn't allow me to not be successful. And and that's not the advice we're giving everybody to go out and spend money, not at all. But you do need something that's going to hold your feet to the fire. Be it come in and sit down with, someone in your office that you've got to be friends with and say, hey, let's set up a bit of an accountability thing. I'd like to I want to grow my business. Would you help me out? And hey, I'll help you out in return where I might have some help that I can offer you and things like that. Or, you know what? In our office, we do a lot of one-on-one sit down with people and things like that. Our goal is to be there to help you do what you want to do. And that's why we started this channel, Kelly, is because there's a lot of this stuff that's out on the internet being talked about, people that have never sold real estate. And you know what? If you've never sold real estate, yeah, you can regurgitate this, but you still don't have the actual stories, the experiences that you can share with people. And when you can share a story about how you dealt with something like that, it's a way more real than just saying, well, you should do this. Right.
Yeah. 50 years of experience between the two of us almost. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have the lion's share of it at 35. I'm a lot older.
Oh, well, there you go. Over 50 years of experience. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, and that's really, you know what? And that's the key. And even with our whole management staff here is they're not managers. They're all people who have sold real estate. They got a real estate background on selling. So they're able to help with those situations going, hey, how do I deal with this? And the nice thing too, you know what? We're available at 9 o'clock at night. If you're sitting down with a struggle and you're having problems getting something across the finish line, pick up the phone and call us. We do ask it. And you know what? If you're struggling with something, leave us something in the comments. Ask us a question. We'll answer that question for you, or maybe we'll end up doing a video about it and let you know how to deal with it. But please like and subscribe. Really like to have you guys part of the channel. We do try to release content on a fairly regular basis. And hopefully you're getting some value out of it, and appreciate any comments you do leave us.